So can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So before we are timed out, we are discussing the importance of ethical leadership. So we have covered the the first, second, and the third and fourth, but we are on the fifth point here, which is higher stability on the market. So I explained that now when organizations have operate in a manner that shows that they are good ethical leaders, they faces only a lower risk of sudden crisis due to their internal factors. Now, and this kind of situation scenario, when a company is that good, investors like to put their money in that company. But when a company does otherwise, their operation can become crashed by some kind of sudden crisis or the other. I will give one example. There's the latest one, but I will give one example that is very popular when it occurred. I'm sure you must have heard of the Takata. There's a company that's called Takata Company. It makes a seat belt, and eventually it was discovered that some of the claims they made about a seat belt was not true, and some people died because of that. So as a result of this, of course, making a false claim about a seat belt is unethical. So due to these unethical practices, some people lost their life. And this caused Takata to go into bankruptcy. Let me play a short clip of this so you can see what happened there to Takata and how this crashed the company. Let me see if I can get it right here. Takata. What is my screen? Okay. Let's see. I can copy all this. So I got it. I got the link here. Copy this and share this with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Where are we? Maybe I need to I think I need to open another page for the internet. Okay, and then share it. Share the new page right here. Okay, let us watch this. About the company. So I can share this.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hoffman from San Diego Comics. I know this is hard to hear, but it's important.
Okay. It's coming just in a little bit.
More problems for Japanese airbag maker Takata. The company has filed for bankruptcy protection because of the cost. Airbag maker Takata.
You can hear the sound, right? Hello, class. Can you hear the sound?
The company has filed for bankruptcy protection because of the costs related to its airbag recall, as well as several lawsuits that have now been filed. Now, Takata recalled its airbags worldwide after it was determined that they could explode with too much force, which would then send shrapnel flying into passengers.
At least 16 deaths have been linked to the airbag recalls. Money editor John Delano has details on what the bankruptcy protection filing means for consumers. That's new at 6.
Takata's chairman bowed deeply and apologized from the bottom of his heart, he said, as his company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in both Japan and the United States on Monday.
Takata has had problems with its airbags, and there's been a massive recall of their airbags.
Takata's faulty airbags were recalled after evidence that some would explode on impact, sending shrapnel into victims, injuring instead of saving them.
Takata is having trouble because it can't pay for all of the costs of the airbag recalls.
Michael Shiner is a bankruptcy attorney with 20 years experience, including international bankruptcies like this one. As usual, he says, it comes down to money, where Takata's principal creditors, according to court documents, are all primarily auto manufacturers to whom it owes replacement airbags.
What this bankruptcy is really about is ultimately who's going to bear the cost of these recalls.
The cost of replacing the tens of millions of Takata airbags still in vehicles around the world is estimated at $5 billion. And only 35% of effective cars have had new airbags installed. But even if Takata gets off the hook for paying the cost of new airbags, consumers, says Shiner, should be okay.
As consumers, it's your auto manufacturer's obligation to fix any defects with your vehicle, regardless of who's responsible for that defect.
So if Takata can't pay, your car manufacturer will. John Delano, KDKA TV News.
So, I don't know what is the fate of the, Takata right now, but all I know is that these small ethical violations, the airbag, producing an airbag that is not saving life, instead helping to endanger life, whether it is a voluntary ethical violations or not, it is a violation, and they cause this company to went bankrupt. Now, another importance of ethical leadership is motivation. Now, employees are usually motivated when they know that the company is operating ethically and for the benefit of the greater people, number of people, and that they will, as the employees of those companies, naturally they would like to work, do their part to further the company's mission of, taking care of their customers in a very ethical way. And this leads us to the concept of ethical dilemma. I'm sure you must have heard of this word before. Last time we did the one that we called moral dilemma. And this time we're looking at ethical dilemma. Now, ethical dilemma, and this is a situation that arises when a person is forced to decide between two morally sound options. Some of these two morally sound options might be may conflict with the established boundaries of the business, or if it's a government agency, it may conflict with their established boundary as well, or the law. Now, as I wrote here, some ethical dilemma might involve following the truth versus being loyal to a friend. It can also involve following the laws and rules versus having compassion for an individual's plight. How about concern about an individual person versus the larger important impact on the community? It can go these ways. Now the question you ask yourself is, what is the difference between ethical dilemma and moral dilemma? Well, main difference that ethical dilemma has to do with rules and not with one's conscience. Say it has to do involve following rules. Unlike moral dilemma that has more to do with conscience. This one has more of rules. Even though conscience can play a role, conscience can move an individual to do otherwise. But ethical dilemma mainly have to do with rules. Yeah, and I'll give you some example of this. You can say an administrative assistant discovered that her boss had been laundering money, and then she must decide whether or not to turn him in. Now, this might be a boss that is nice to that employee. He hired her, treat her well, and only to find out that he's laundering money. Now, morally, myself, conscience, you say, okay, this guy is nice to me. I'm not gonna rat on him. I will not rat on him because he's very nice to me. Then you're talking about moral dilemma. But ethical dilemma is have to do with the rule. The rule says you have to what they call it, there's a term they use for it, whistleblower. Whistleblower, you have to blow the whistle, speak out and say this is not right. And then naturally your conscience might be biting you that you betrayed a boss that is very nice to you, nice to your family, nice to people, nice to family, nice to everyone in the firm, just that he's laundering money or she's laundering money. So that's the difference. Now, how about a doctor refuses to give a terminal patient morphine, but the nurse can see that the patient is agony? Yes, there's this, I forgot what they call it. When the person is suffering from a very painful disease that is incurable, and that person say, what's the point in still being alive? Why not give me an injection so that I can just die in my sleep? Now, morally, the doctor might want to help the person. So let me just end his misery, or let me end her misery by giving him this. But the law says, well, it depends on the state. The law says you should not do that. So you can see the conflict. I want to do something right, but this is the law says. And of course, biblically, those of us who are Christians, one of the 10 commandments, I think one of the contents of the 10 commandments says, "Do not kill, thou shalt not kill," because by giving that person an injection to end his misery or end her misery, you are actually killing him. But you are trying to save him from the pain, the unbearable pain. So you can see why ethical dilemma is different from moral dilemma. How about this? I'm sure this example I just gave. There's some. I've read articles about that kind of situation, whereby what should the doctor do if the patient is having a terminal illness anyway? Why would allow him to or her to go through all those painful periods? Why not just terminate it? Right? And even with the patient even asking for it. So now, how about a government agency contractor discovered that intelligence agencies have been spying on its citizens illegally, but is bound by contracts and legalities to keep his confidentiality about the discovery. Well, there's this particular situation. It actually happened. There's one contractor for the military who revealed that the U.S. government is using the Patriot Act to, spy. I forgot the exact circumstance that surrounds that story. But that guy he can now move to Russia, and he was obviously a fugitive from the law, and then settled in Russia. So, but unlike that, he found there's a law. As an ethically, he's not supposed to say that or to blow the whistle in that kind of scenario, because there's rules that is in the contract that he and the company he is working for is ethically bound to follow. But morally, the dilemma, he did what he felt that is nice to do so that he can clear his conscience. But the rule says, when it comes to ethical dilemma, don't go by what it is in your contract. Follow the rule. So that's the difference again between ethical dilemma and moral dilemma. How about this situation whereby a friend got a math test? He took a math test ahead of you, and he knows, for some reason, he knows that the teacher will ask the same question. And then you haven't taken the math test and you struggle with maths. Now, morally, you are not supposed to ask him to give you or ask her to give you the test so that you can study it, knowing that that will be the one that will come out in the exam, then morally you're not supposed to do that. But but him or your friends morally will say, let me help my friend. So that, I mean, if I help him, he will help, she will help me, or he will help me back. Morally, I'm doing the right thing for my friend. But ethically, are you supposed to do that? No, you're not supposed to do that. So this will, again, give you a better, more picture about the difference between ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas. Now, let's look at an example, a case that involves a soldier. His name is Alvin York. Now, Mr. York faced a dilemma, ethical one, when he received a draft notice in the summer of 1917. Now, many of you might not know about draft in the military. There used to be a time that the military, sometimes they don't have enough men to fight. So they might use what they call a draft to force people to do a military service. We call it a draft. I can call it conscription. So I can show you on the screen. You can see on the screen. They don't do it anymore, but there was a time they used to do it. So in this scenario, in this kind of situation, the military, we need people for war, and they don't have enough. And so what they do is they use a draft to force some men to join the military and fight for them. So you call it a draft or conscription. Now, so a draft, in other words, means legally requires people to join the army with penalties. If they don't join the army, they have to face penalty. I think it happened to Muhammad Ali during the Vietnam War, I believe, where he was almost drafted, but he did not honor it, and then for some reason he received some kind of consequence for doing that. Now, anyway, Mr. Alvin faced this dilemma in 1917 because he believed that participating in the violence of the World War I will violate his religious belief and faith, because the Bible said, for him, thou shalt not kill. So he believed that fighting in a war and killing violated his religious belief. So now, so he decided to be free from the draft as what they called a conscientious objector, which means somebody who, for moral or religious reasons, does not want to fight in a war. So now his battalion commander then tried to convince him, that actually in some situation fighting can be actually Christian to do that. He showed him some biblical verses to prove that, to him that under some circumstances, it can be Christian to fight and kill. Now, eventually he joined the military during that time, and then served America. Ultimately, he became, a war hero. A war hero, because that great war was a war for democracy, to protect democracy. Now, any question before I continue? Hello, scholars. Any question before I continue?
No question, Professor.
No question. Okay, good, excellent. So now we can now look at the roots of ethics. Now, ethics, as you must have known by now, have two major roots. I have explained the ethical dilemma. I have explained the moral dilemma. And believe me, in every society, they have their own kind of ethics that stipulate what is morally wrong and what is morally right. Sometimes culture can even play inside it as well. So, but in general, we have two major roots for ethics. One is have a religious roots, and then the secular roots. Secular roots doesn't have to do with religion. Now, for the religious ethics, it is based on the teachings of the different religious bodies. So it is based on what they call a theistic understanding of the world. Now, I'm sure you must have heard of the word theistic before, and you must have heard the word atheist. So theist is the opposite of atheist. So theistics have to do with belief in the gods. So religious ethics is based on theistic understanding of the world. So now that word, with the real, true, and good is defined by God. What is real, what is true, what is good, defined by what our society believes that God said that is good or not good. I mean, in some societies, what is good might not be actually, what they consider morally good may not be, absolutely good per se, but it is what they believe that is good for them. I remember when I was a kid growing up, there's this book I read about some tribes in in Nigeria in those days, very long before the Christianity came to Africa. There was a time, twins, people, when you give birth to a twin, it is considered to be what you call an abomination. That means you offended the gods. So the woman that have the twins have to go through some kind of spiritual cleansing rites to clean. Then those twins will be thrown away. You will throw them away in the what they call it. That's different. Every village have what they call the evil forest, where anything that is bad, they throw it there. So those twins will be thrown into that evil forest to die. That was the long old culture. So the Christianity came and stopped it. But remember, for that village in those days, it was a moral thing to do. They believe in that if you don't do it, the gods will punish the whole village through using what they call pestilence, disease. So it was ethically good for them to do it. So we have this chant. I don't know if you like. There's this novel, they call it Cuckoo. Let me type it. I can show you on the screen. It was a story. One of the twins, when the Christianity came to Africa, to Nigeria. So one twin that was supposed to be thrown away, they gave him the twin to throw away in the evil forest. Instead of casting the twin away, she decided to raise him. And then the name of that twin is Kuku Baboni. So that twin grew up and became, very successful. Let me show you. Maybe you can, if you like to read novels, you can even try to read it. It's called Kuku Baboni. Okay, let me show it. Right. I can maybe it's in Amazon probably. Kuku Baboni. Maybe Google Books might even have it. Or you can watch the. Yep. It's not here. Okay, give me 1 minute. I'll get it for you. Kuku. Baboni. I read it as a kid. See? It's a bestseller. It was a bestseller. Yeah, that's the book right there. That's the book right there. I think if you are in Goodreads, it's an online reading platform, just like it's like a social media. You can read it. I think you can read it free there. I believe. So instead of throwing the kid, I think he put the kid in he put the child in a basket and placed it on the river instead of throwing it on the forest. Now, a woman who was looking for he didn't have a baby, he didn't have children. Now found it, I think, and then decided to raise it. Now, what I'm trying to say from this story that in those days it was ethically right to do things like this, because when you do it, you are saving the whole village from the anger of the gods. So that's what I'm trying to explain with this. Anyway, going back to our discussion. All right, Then we have secular ethics. Secular ethics is based on the scientific understanding of the world. This is based on, this is what many philosophers, we are one of the vanguard of this kind of ethics in the olden days. So under this secular ethics, reality, truth, goodness does not depend on the existence of God. It is based on purely scientific understanding of the world. So now the bottom line is that both religious ethics and secular ethics may endorse many common values, things like preserving life, and also the importance of treating people well, the way you like to be treated. So now, which leads us to, let me see if you can see the screen. Yeah, I can see the screen. So which leads us to the secular tradition of ethics. I look at the secular tradition, and we'll be looking at the religious tradition. So we look at the secular tradition in a broader aspect of it. Now, according to the philosopher Aristotle, the good person is one who lives most rationally. Somebody that is rational. So for that person, anything that relates to moral judgment or social conduct are based on reason, based on contemplation of reason. So he or she is rational, and his or her moral judgments and social conduct are based on reason. Now, that person doesn't believe in spontaneity or emotionality. So that person do things according to reason. So that person is a good person. Now, that kind of person cannot say, if you have maybe a conflict with him or her, they will try to address it rationally. They can say, let us reason, let us use logic, and so on and so forth. So in other words, when we address moral dilemma by saying, let us use reason, let us use logic, or let us think rationally about this, and when we do that, that means we are trying to, or we are being ethical based on Aristotelian principle, or his tradition, or what he proposed or developed about ethics or the good person. So now remember that Aristotle was a philosopher, a Greek philosopher in those days, and he was one of the first and most influential people to shape ethics in the Western countries. Now, also, he also believed that every type of animal has common essence or nature, and that human beings are essentially rational. That means every human being have it in him. Basically, see what he said, that they have it inborn in us, innate, to be rational. So that means if we are not rational when we deal with people, or the way we handle things, that means we choose to be irrational that way, but we have it in us to be rational. Now, so according to him, rationality is then the central and most significant threat that made us different from other creatures in the universe. That's what he's trying to say. Now, when it comes to religious tradition of ethics, in this case, we have the belief or the notion that all world religions prescribe what is good as with respect to being morality. So they prescribe what is moral behavior. So we can see this in different teachings of various religions, what they teach us about morality. And one good example, you have St. Augustine, and another one, Thomas Aquinas. Now, according to St. Augustine, he said that naturally evil inclination of humanity can be overcome only by divine grace. So whatever is wrong with us, whatever evil we think or that we plan, we can overcome it through the grace of God. That's what he's saying, through divine grace. So that means when we allow ourselves to live our life through faith and to be drawn to God, we will overcome the basic immoral nature in us and eventually become not good enough to reconcile with the city of God. You know, that's what he called it, the city of God. So that's what is believed. So in other words, as we we'll be transformed, or the evil in us, the evil thought in us, the evil inclination we have can be, addressed or removed, or we can be saved from those kind of mindsets through divine grace. And when can this be done? When we allow ourselves to be drawn to God, to get closer to God, and then we will be able to overcome the immoral nature in us. So in other words, he believes that human beings have some, we are born with some bad, we have a good side and bad side. So the bad side of us can be eliminated as we get closer to God. Now, I'm sure that he did say this because biblically, they believe that Bible says that we are born with the original sin, so that the baby that is just born has already have sin already on him or her due to what our Adam and Eve committed. So that was his belief. And then many Christian principles, teachings, we are taught based on this postulate of St. Augustine. He was one of the most popular. His teaching has a very great influence in Western religion than many of the other religious teaching after him. Now, we have another one called Thomas Aquinas. Now, in contrast to what St. Augustine was teaching, St. Augustine said that we have both good and bad, but the bad can be eliminated as soon as we get closer to God. St. Aquinas was saying that people are naturally endowed, or people are endowed in a natural desire to be good. So now to him, this inclination, natural desire to be good, can be dormant in us. It's already in us. So that means even if we don't allow it, if we don't use it, it can be perverted. That means it can be corrupted, But Thomas Aquinas believed that to be present in all people, and it is present in all people, and is impossible to destroy it. We might not decide to use it, but we cannot destroy it because it's in us to be good. Yeah. Well, that is his theory. Now, Aquinas in his teaching, he thought that to resist God's pull is contrary to human nature. So that means if we allow ourselves to follow God, we fulfill our nature and be purely good. So that means that if we act this goodness in our day-to-day lives, we be not moral, and then we experience the greatest meaning that we are capable of experiencing. So they all have their notion of morality and ethics, have theories. Now, which lead us to moral development, the morality and morality. So now, we all have the word moral before, so we know that you have to do with good and bad. It's not more concerned with the goods. So when we come to morality, then we are referring to that belief, a system of belief about what is right and good compared to what is wrong and bad. You know, so that means that the changes in the moral belief as a person grows older and gain maturity. So there are changes that it goes in a moral, in a different kind of belief system we have with respect to morality. We call it moral development. So now, our moral beliefs can also related, but not identical with moral behavior. Because it is possible to know the right thing to do, but not actually do it. In my view, any adult, if you are an adult and you don't have any mental situation, naturally you know what is right thing to do and not to do, and what is not right thing to do. But the problem that it's not knowing it. After all, people know the law. People know that it is not good to go over the speed limit, but yet they go over it. So knowing it and doing it are different things. So that's what I mean by the moral beliefs, or it can be identical but not the same as moral behavior. Now, moral beliefs is also not the same as knowledge of social conventions. Social conventions are different because they are more arbitrary. We need them for the smooth operation of the society. So their moral belief can be different from that one as well, because it's totally believe on this, or this is what the society wants, the way the society wants it to be done. So that they are related, yes, but they're not the same thing. For example, motor vehicles. Social convention may have a moral element, but they have to be having some kind of practical purpose, like the convention for that motor vehicle all keep to the same side of the streets. Okay, US have a right, you use left-hand drive. That's a convention, but so you drive, the steering wheel is on the left side for every car. So it's because it's practical for them to use drive that way. Now consider a situation whereby in my car, my steering is on the left side, but another person's car is on the right side. That would cause some kind of chaos in the road and might cause so many accidents and fatalities. So the society have their convention. Okay. The steering wheel have to be on the right side, on the left side. So you drive on the left side of the road. I believe, yeah, left side of the road, yes. If you're going, then somebody coming back to drive on the right side, on the left side as well. Now, but in some countries, it's different. Like in Britain, they have what they call right-hand drive. Even Jamaica have right-hand drive as well. So instead of for the cars they use in Jamaica, instead of being on the left side, on the right side. So drive on the right side of the road. So this explains why I say that the moral belief is not the same as knowledge of social convention, which are arbitrary customs that we needed to smooth the operation of the society. So moral belief, we have less than 1 minute and we'll be timed out very soon. Let me summarize that moral belief and convention are not the same. I will see you back here in 10 minutes. Please log back after 10 minutes so that we can finish up, okay? Can you hear me, scholars?
We hear you, dog.
Yeah, okay, I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Professor, I won't log back in. I already sent you a message.
Okay.
So y'all have a good night.
Professor.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Kenya. I'm present in class tonight. You told me to remind you about my present status from last week's class.
Oh, yeah, I will fix it after class. Yes. Kenya, right?
Okay.
Kenya, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I got your back.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You said 10 minutes, right?
I think